All right, I'm going to do just a quick video on what we discussed in our Zoom about our community portfolio. So from the home screen, you would go to Chapter and Assignment Information and go to the tab Community Portfolio. With this, it has just a brief description, but we're going to go ahead and click the PDF to get all of the information. So when we look at that, it says create a community resource file from a town of your choice, displaying this information in a user-friendly professional format. Slideshow can be created on PowerPoint, Prezi, or Google Slides. Really, I don't care as long as I have access. Really be careful on Google Slides if you send that to me to make sure that I am able to be a viewer. So whatever style you want to, as long as it is not only openable on Mac. I do not have a Mac, so make sure that I'm able to open it on a regular Windows or on my iPad. Let's see. So this is going to be something that you would use in a classroom or a center for families in need. So whether it's somebody that just moved into the area that's going to need more information, or a family that's struggling with something, and you would be able to hand this to them and kind of point them in the right direction. So step one, choose a town of your choice. I highly recommend the town that you plan to work in. It would just make sense to have that information available for your families. There are some towns, I always use Brighton as an example with one of my centers being there. Brighton does not have a lot of these specific things, so we would actually reach out to neighboring cities and assure that we kind of tell people where they would go. So for an example, here, a courthouse. Where would people from Brighton go for a courthouse? Social Security office. Businesses. There's only a handful of businesses for the public in Brighton. So if you have that small town, then just make sure you reach out to surrounding populations. Step two, create a slideshow. At minimal, you need 11 slides. I highly recommend more than that because some of these are going to be a little more detailed. You need to make sure that you have a vast amount of information covered in these larger categories. Everything bold is mandatory. Otherwise, everything is just an idea to kind of get you started. Each needs to be thoroughly and really think about the families in your program and what information they would need. My favorite thing that ever came across on this assignment was like where to eat free on which days. There's a lot of places in the area that does eat free for kids on certain days of the week, and how cool would that be for families to have access to that? Just an idea. So as I said, these 11 things are going to be your requirements, so we'll kind of go through them briefly. Population characteristics. I just kind of give you some basic information there, but you're welcome to expand. Communication channels. So there are a lot of towns now that do the text message alerts. How do you get those? Different newspapers, radio stations. There's a lot of different ways towns communicate now. There's also billboards, the city billboard, and whether or not they have one of those scrolling signs out front, different things like that. Government leadership, it's always important to be involved in that kind of stuff. And then the main businesses, the government businesses that are listed there, I really recommend most of those. But if you want to expand on that, go for it. But those are pretty important things that new people into the area or your current families would definitely need to know about. Churches. I always get complaints, but Alton has so many churches. I do not require all churches to be listed, but you definitely need to give a very good variety. So really think about like different denominations, different areas throughout Alton, so you're not just all clumped in one. North Alton, make sure you kind of spread out different areas. So churches, I know there can be a lot in some of those larger towns, but definitely give a very good variety. Library, once again, not every town is going to have a library, but every town has a library district. So what library would that town have that the parents should be going to? Schools, just some examples. Local businesses, once again, there are going to be lots in some of these towns, so definitely give a good variety. People want to know where they can go and then also where they can work. Community help organizations, so these are going to be the ones that are going to be helping your families. This is probably the most important area that you can make sure that it is very detailed, and it will honestly help you as a provider as well. So really making sure that you have all of this very detailed and really hit these areas and expand. One thing I do not have on here, there is some mental health services here, but that's social emotional support. That is huge right now. So what information can you find that would really help families that when they're struggling with kids' behavior, kids' delays, those kind of things? Community involvement and family involvement, they do overlap a little bit, but think of community involvement more as what organizations are out there, and family involvement is going to be more of what activities are happening. So that's kind of where that kid eat free days would hit. Your choice, that is totally up to you. If you really are at a blank and don't know what to do, people have done like fun facts about the town. So there's an idea, but really expand however you want. You can even expand deeper into one of these categories and kind of make a subcategory, because there are some of these categories that can make a lot of information. So with that being said, be professional. Make sure that, the font is kind of the same. It doesn't look like you've copied and pasted and kind of jumbled it all up. Make sure that it does look professional. I do not expect perfection and perfect technology savviness by any means, but it just needs to have a kind of a flow between it all. So professional, thorough, and easy to access. So those are going to be the three things that I recommend really making sure that you're doing well at. If you have questions, if you're unfamiliar on PowerPoint, Prezi, Google Slides, one of those, let me know because I can do just a quick, Zoom with you and kind of show you how to work that. So feel free to reach out for questions about technical support, but also if you have questions about what is expected. So this will actually be due by our class. So it is not by midnight. It will be due by our class, and then I will randomly select some for you guys to actually present. So our next class meeting is required for points. So if you do not show, you will be missing out on the points for that. If you have questions, let me know.